What is happening, Titans fans? We are back for another preview. Titans versus Texans, first of two. And it'll be 1 out of 3 weeks, or 2 out of the next 3 weeks will be going against these Texans, even though it'll be very different Texans teams that will be
Yeah.
facing because CJ Stroud is officially listed as doubtful for this game, but obviously he'll be good to go 3 weeks from now. So this will be preview number one, Texans versus Titans, and we're just gonna hop right on into it.
Yeah. Glad to be back. I was not in the last video, but gave a hell filled in just fine and did everything just fine without me. But it's good to be back talking about which it sucks because I really would like to talk about the Dolphins and Titan game. What a great game, I guess that was, even though I did not expect us to win. But on to the Texans, I guess. Which I think this game, I'm just gonna jump out right in though. It's gonna be a better game than I initially thought. Like a couple weeks ago, I thought Texas would, beat us pretty good, honestly. But you have C.J. Stroud out. They have Davis Mills, who's not that good. Let's be honest, he's not that good at all. Um, and then you have us coming off a good win. We're at home. I think this should be a better game than a lot of people might think it is.
Well, most things have Titans favored to win this game. Because not only are they missing their best player in CJ Stroud, but they're also missing Nico Collins is questionable.
And then because they don't have Tank Dell for the rest of the season.
Tank Dell's gone for the rest of the season. Will Anderson is out, third overall pick in this draft. So Will Levis is nope. Will Anderson is out. George Fant, their tackle, who we looked at before we got Chris Hubbard, but he's questionable. Also out is Tavere Thomas. He's a cornerback. I don't know exactly who that is. But they have a couple other people who are questionable, like Laramie Tunsil and some other people. So basically, they have they're very much injured. Like their list is as long as ours. Now, obviously, we have some people out as well. Your video just turned off.
Yeah, it said popped off and now it's back on, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, it's back on. Jeffrey Simmons is out. T.R. Tart is out/released, which that whole situation is just weird. He's been upset ever since we tagged him instead of give him a long contract like he wanted. But you don't pay big money to nose tackles, so I was completely okay with us doing what we did. Kyle Phillips is out with a hamstring, so he's back being hurt.
Injury. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got people like Nick Westbrook-Akina's questionable with an illness. Kevon Wallace is questionable with a quad, but I don't give a crap really about him one way or another. Jack Gibbons is questionable. Danico Autry is questionable, but I'm sure those are all going to be good to go. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just jump right into this. If both teams were healthy, I might, just because of how good CJ Stroud ended up being, I would lean towards Texans. Actually, I wouldn't lean anything. I would just say Texans are going to probably win that one. But, I mean, they had the second and the third overall pick in this year's draft, are not suiting up, are not playing. And then Will Levis ended up being better than we thought. Both tackles could be out. Basically, their entire wide receiver room's out. So, Robert Woods is going to be their number one wide receiver, which, let's be honest, we saw him last year. He was hot garbage then.
But then again, I could see that be just the play that we let torch us out of nowhere.
If he plays in the slot, no, because that'll be our best cornerback going against him. He's only got 324 yards on the season. So basically, he's a backup.
This is, for the Texans, this is annoying because they could easily miss the playoffs, even though they're having a surprisingly good season, just because how beat up they are. My goodness, they look like the Titans of old of the last couple of years. But for the Titans, it was nice that we beat the Dolphins, but I don't know about you, but I don't want us to win any more games. I mean, because we're not making the playoffs. That's obvious. We're not making the playoffs. But we win this. Now we've got 6 wins. Now we're going to be drafted in that 11th spot that we picked last year. You know what I mean? So these wins are kind of going to be biting us in the butt later on. But I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm going to say I feel like even though we are 5-8, this is odd to say, but we should, like you said, be favored to win this game.
Yeah, we are favored to win it. according to all the betting lines and all the picks of the quote unquote analysts and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, which makes perfect sense because if we were playing against a team and we didn't have, Jeffrey Simmons, which I guess we don't have Jeffrey Simmons, but Jeffrey Simmons being our best D lineman and we didn't have Will Levis, and let's just say if we didn't have Ryan Tannehill to step in,
Yeah.
if we had Malik Willis, then obviously we would be, projected to lose. So
It's one of those things. I hate to say it, especially if we win this game, we're getting out of that. We're not going to be picking top 5 like I wanted. So now I guess I might as well just see us win some games, even though I know it's not going to equal the playoffs. But might as well win some games and see Will Levis play well. Because last week we won. That was kind of annoying. But you gotta say it was fun seeing Will Levis play like he did. It gave you a little more hope for him.
I mean, yeah, Will Levis has been a pleasant surprise because I was very unhappy.
Oh yeah,
very unhappy with the pick. Honestly, I was unhappy with the pick of him and Tajay Spears. I hated that day too.
Yeah.
Draft day.
Both playing well.
Both are playing well. I've said it several times, and I'll say it again that I hope I live to see the day that I regret that. So,
Yeah.
which this is not the year I'm going to judge them because both of them were technically backups for the first 8 weeks, and technically Tajay Spears is still backup to Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It'll be next year that we'll be able to really, really judge that. But we can wait to have that conversation at a later time. Right now, they have a bad secondary. That's right. The bad passing defense.
Let me just pull that up. I got it right here. The Texans, defensively, 20th and 26th in passing yards allowed in a game, which is bad, and the 8th though in rushing defense. So sounds like another bad game for Derrick Henry, which he didn't look good in Miami, if you ask me. I know he had 2 touchdowns. He didn't look good. Slash the blocking, I'll say that. But anyway, so it's not like Derrick Henry won't run very much or very well, but we should be able to pass on these guys.
Yeah, plus it's a revenge game for D-Hop.
Yeah.
Plus we'll be in the Oiler Blues.
One thing that helps us a little bit is the 22nd in sacks. So maybe we might give Will Levis a little time.
I wouldn't
count on that.
No, any average Joe can get around our tackles because really it's been tackle play. It's been our biggest issue.
I agree. And Brewer's been garbage too.
Brewer's been garbage as well. But Peter Skronsky and Brunskill's been able to bail him out a little bit.
I would tell you what the offensive statistics are, but really that doesn't matter right now because they're a completely different offense. They don't have Stroud, they don't have Dell, they may not have Collins. The tackles are out. So what the offensive rank is, like they're second in passing yards, but do we actually think they're second with Davis Mills? No, you know what I mean. So that doesn't really matter to me as much. But yeah, if I was a Texans fan, I'd be very frustrated right now because you look like you might have sneak in and make a playoff, which no one thought beginning of the season. But man, are they injured? I think, these next 2 games against us will be important against them. Now I don't know about the second game. This game here, I guess I was gonna save it to the end of the season, into the video, but I'm already just saying I think we're gonna win this game. I don't know. Is that what you're?
I mean, yeah. Now that before the Dolphins game, after we got beat by the Colts, I officially said I want us to lose out and get a possible top 5 pick. But now with what we just did there, going against Davis Mills instead of CJ Stroud, and it's possible they're saying it's possible next week we're going against Drew Lock instead of Geno Smith. So it's possible we just start stacking dubs.
Yeah, and
which is pointless.
What's that going to equal? We're going to be 8-9 or 9-8, and miss the playoffs still, but. That's Titans. Because then all of a sudden, if we win 2 or 3 more games, we're looking at pick 14, 15, and you're not going to get the play I want. Because if we get a tackle or something, you're not going to get the best. There's probably, if you pick 15th, you're probably going to get the 3rd or 4th best tackle in the draft. You know what I mean? So, because Peter Skronsky was the 3rd tackle. Granted, he's a guard now, but he was the 3rd tackle taken, and we had to pick 11. He was
I think he was the 2nd. I think
sure?
Paris Johnson Jr. went first.
I thought I remember being upset. Really, we picked a guard tackle at the 11th, and he's not even the best one though. But anyway, either way, we'll see. We'll see what we. That's another off-season topic.
I mean, the way I see it, if we end up dropping to 15th ish, that means we need to go wide receiver.
Is that what you think? Okay.
Because there'll be some high end wide receivers that
Wide
would be the
receivers at the spot. Yeah.
best or second best in other drafts, but just because Marvin Harris Jr. is here,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Can't even say his name. Because he's here, it kind of like shines a shadow on other folk and makes you not think about him as much.
And
But
I agree. I think I agree with that. But it's just I wish we can do a better at the offensive line and help Will Levis. But
we'll have to aggressively attack that in free agency. Is what we're gonna have to do. Because like I want T. Higgins or somebody like the Calvin Ridley, T. Higgins, Mike Evans. I want someone like that in free agency. But if we're picking 15th and we don't think a tackle is going to be there, then I say we should put heavy money in tackles in free agency and then go wide receiver first round.
Yeah.
Of course, I almost wish they would switch it where instead of it being free agency and then the draft, I almost wish they would let you go draft first. Yeah. So that way you can see what you were able to address and then use your free agency to
that's true. But
patch up the holes. But yeah, but they don't really give you those options. But anyways, these are all, as we always say, these are conversations that can be had at another time.
Yeah.
Because we'll have a whole off season, basically all of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, to have all of the off season conversations. For now, it's Titans v Texans, and I do think we're going to win this.
You want to say the scores?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Titans win it. I'm going to say probably 27-13 is what I would say.
I agree with you with the 13, but I was going to say Titans 20-13 is what I was going to say. 27 points would be good, but I don't know why. This Titans going 28, 27. I don't know with that. Watch Will Levis just come down to earth a little bit and just unexpectedly be 55% completions on a pick or something. And I just waiting to see him just not be as good. We're gonna win. Don't get me wrong, but we're not going to be able to get the running game going, and we'll win 20-13. That's how I feel. Because I don't want to overthink us. We're still a bad team, but we're playing against such a beat-up team. We're gonna win, but we're still a bad team. Like even in the Dolphins game, we tried to give that away. We did our darnest to give it away.
Is what our problem is, and I used to say this about the Texans, which is who we're going against. I said the Texans have like 5 superstars, but the 5 people that aren't superstars are just garbage that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Because like they had D-Hop, they had J.J. Watt, they had some big names like that, but all just the random corners, the random O-linemen, they're all just a bunch of no-namers that honestly sucked. And I kind of feel like that's who we are because we were thinking about people like Eric Garrer. Yeah. I don't even know how to say his name. I've been talking about him since September. Or actually before that, because we were talking about him in the preseason. People like him fumbling it, where people have no idea who he is, but then he's the one basically tried to throw the game. Yeah. And there are so many people like that on our team that if you're not a Titans fan, you ain't got a clue who they are. You just don't. Yeah. And that's what the Titans' problem is. Like we have stars and playmakers like Hooker and Simmons and Landry and people like that. Or on offense, we have D-Hop, Derrick Henry. We have some names, but then the people that aren't those big names are all just, should they even be on an NFL roster?
I'll say this. I'm sorry, I keep kind of going back to the same just because I didn't really talk about it. But you notice one thing I was impressed with Will Levis is that he had some touch passes last game. It wasn't just some bullets. He had some passes, especially deep ones, that had some touch to it. And that's something I have not seen from him, but that was really good. If he can keep that in his arsenal of tools, that would be really nice.
I don't know if that's Charles Landon, our new quarterbacks coach, that's been teaching him that, or if he just, I don't know, worked on it in the offseason.
Sometimes you can't just bullet every single pass. Sometimes you got to put a touch, and he did some on the Hopkins and then one on NWI, I saw, but let's hope he can keep that up. I was impressed with him, so let's hope he can do that with the Texans. This game is there for the taking. This is a win for the taking. Let's see if he can go out there and impress us. Because you got to admit, is that what the season's about right now? Will Levis, 20. Yes, there's the Tajay Spiels and young people like that, but ultimately, see what Will Levis does. That's what the season's about now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's really all it is about saying, and this makes me sad, but it might be the best thing to do. And we'll have this conversation in depth later. But watching Tajay Spears have over 100 yards all-purpose last week,
Some good receiving yards too.
Some good receiving yards, some nice catches. I'm just thinking Will Levis and Tyjae Spears. I feel like during this season, we thought it'd be next year, but during this season, Tannehill and Henry, who gave us so many winning seasons, all those playoff appearances, I feel like they're like passing the baton over to Spears and Levis.
Yeah, I didn't think Tannehill wouldn't be able to finish it. that was odd. Derrick Henry's gonna finish it, but I know, and well, you might agree with me a little bit, but he's not the same guy.
The problem
in
with,
my opinion,
I mean, he's obviously lost a step from being 26 to now he's ready to turn 30 in a couple weeks. But the biggest problem with Derrick Henry is he has to have at least 3 steps in before people can touch him. Because if he's, his acceleration's not great. And if you hit him in the backfield, you're going to take him down. Even in his prime, you're taking him down in the backfield. If you get him, like as soon as he touches it and you hit him, he's done. He's not like Tyjae Spears or a lot of these shifty guys where they could just cut on a dime and get away from people like that. So even in Derrick Henry's prime, he couldn't do that. And because our O-line is so bad this year, he never had a chance. He never had a chance. I hate that we had to see him off like that.
but
because he might go somewhere next year. He might go somewhere next year with a good O-line and put up another 1,400 yard season.
I like Derrick Henry. I hope he wins the Super Bowl. He deserves a Super Bowl because he has a good career, but he needs a Super Bowl. But the thing is, he needs a good offensive line at this point of his career. The only thing though is his kind of running back is dying. That's the way he plays. Yes, he had a great catch last game, but he's
I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, like he doesn't do that.
High point back shoulder catch.
Like those people like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, like they don't want Derrick Henry. They don't like those kind of backs. So he's dying breed. So I feel like when he leaves us, now maybe someone will scoop him up, but there's a lot of offenses that don't want him.
Sadly, apparently the Ravens are still having a lot of interest in him, and that is like one of the 4 places I don't want to see him to go. I don't want to see him to go in I say see him to go. I don't want to see him go to any of the division rivals. I don't want to see him to go to the Ravens. Honestly, might be it. Might just be the division and Ravens.
But there's one reason I saw someone's like, well, should we? Someone's like, I saw a couple of people on the internet. It's like maybe we should just give him a small deal and see if he wants it. But this is why I say, actually, I just want him gone because as long as he's on a team, we're gonna have too many 3 tight end sets and stuff. You know what I mean? And I want to get a new offense. Let's spread them out a little more. Let's have more receivers. And as long because Tajay Spears fits that better, and Derrick Henry fits the I formation heavy sets. And I think Derrick Henry needs to be gone for Tim Kelly, and maybe to change it up a little bit.
Well, that's going to give a chance for Vrabel to show how much or how little control he has over the offense. Because if we let Henry walk and we make Tyjae Spears our new running back starter, and if we are still trying to run the ball 20, 25 times a game, then I'm like, okay, then maybe Vrabel needs to stop influencing the offense. Yeah. Now, if we let Henry walk and we start spreading him out and throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game, which I would be okay with.
Me too.
Then we really were basically letting Henry, I don't want to say ruin us, but make us old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But what does this have to do with the Texans?
Sorry, we get distracted so easy.
Well, it's one of those situations where literally all we're fighting for is just to see what needs replaced and what doesn't. Because people's already broke down everything through the week. For the Titans to go to the playoffs, we need to win out. We need to win out, and then the Colts need to lose a couple more games. Because apparently this is weird, but apparently if the Titans, Texans, and Jags, all 3 are tied with 9-8 for the division, the Titans win the division.
Why?
I don't remember.
If we win out, I'm assuming that's
for us to win out, we'd have to be 9-8. So if we win out and we're 9-8, the Jags are 9-8, and the Texans are 9-8, we win the division.
Yeah, but
if Colts get involved, apparently, then that messes everything up.
They swept us, so
because they swept us. But yeah, it didn't make any sense to me because I'm thinking our even if we were to win out, then we don't even be 3-3 in the division. But there's been several different places I've seen break it down that all say if it's Texans, Titans, Jags, we win. But the problem is we need the Jags to lose to either they're gonna probably lose the Ravens on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then obviously in this scenario, we will have beat them in the last week. Their other two games, I think, was the Panthers and the Bucks. So basically, we really need the Bucks to beat the Jaguars
To beat us?
if we want any hope.
Yeah.
Now the Colts, I think the Colts, I don't know what the Colts are. Who knows what they are? But I think the Colts are going to be the one who spoils the whole thing. But at this point, I don't. It's it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But anyways, yeah, I guess that's really all we have to say because, again, we're watching for matchups. We're trying to look to see what kind of holes we have. We're trying to build on some momentum, some confidence, things like that. We don't really care as much about. We don't really care as much about the
W and L's
wins, the dubs and L's anymore. So I guess that's all we got for this video. Make sure you look out for us on Sunday evening. Hopefully, we'll be able to put out a recap of the Titans versus the Texans. Probably talking about, we'll probably be saying stuff like, where was this the first, 10 weeks, 11 weeks of the season? Why do we have to wait until we're in a unclimb-outable hole to start playing like this? But anyways, I guess that's all we got. We'll see y'all in the next video. Tighten up, peace out, and all that jazz.